Welcome back. In the previous step, we made to-do an entity and inserted some data into the to-do table. In this step, let's start creating the resources to be able to access the to-do data. What I'll do is I'll stop the server again. What I want to do is I would want to create a copy of this to-do resource. So I'll copy this and paste it right here. Control C, Control V, and you can call this to-do JPA resource. And one of the things I would do over here is this JPA resource, all the URLs, I would add in something called JPA at the start. So we will have both the services available all the time. So now I would /JPA. This is still talking to the hard-coded service, but that's okay. So make sure that you're copying 5 times /JPA in here. That's basically the 5 resource methods that are exposed from the to-do JPA resource. What we'll do is we'll create a new repository. Once you have an entity in JPA, the way you can talk to the entity to save data and get information from it is by using a repository. And Spring Data JPA provides an awesome thing called JPA repository, which provides all the features to be able to add, delete, update, and get the details of an entity very easy. So let's start with creating that resource in here. So I'll say Control N and create a new class. And this class over here, what we would want to call it? We would want to call it as to-do JPA repository. And inside this class, actually, I should have created an interface. I'll say in public interface to-do JPA repository. Control M, and I would say implements JPA repository. If you do a control space, you would be able to, actually I should say extends, because you have to extend a repository, and control space, and you'd be able to say see the JPA repository class. I'll import that in, and the first thing I would need to tell the JPA repository is which entity it is managing to do and what is the primary key, long. That's as easy as this. Now you can start creating instances of this specific thing. Before that, I'll say this is a repository class, so that this is picked up by Spring Component Scan. So let's add the repository on this, and let's go over here, and now I can add @AutoWired on the JPA repository. So to do JPA repository, and I'll call this to do JPA repository. So what we have now is we have the to-do JPA repository in here. So we'll be able to use the to-do JPA repository to talk to the JPA entity to do. If you go here, if I take the to-do JPA repository and press dot, you'd see that there are a number of methods which are coming up. How many rows are present in that specific entity? Delete method to delete. Delete all to delete everything which is present inside the to-do table, and so on and so forth. If you look at it, there are a wide variety of methods which are exposed by the to-do repository by default. We will now focus on just the 2 basic methods to do the get all to-dos and get to do. Get to do should be easy. Get to do, there is a corresponding direct method related to this. All that you need to do is say to do repository dot, we call this to do JPA repository, so it should be to do JPA repository dot find by ID. So find by ID and pass in the ID. The interesting about the find by ID JPA repository method is it would return a optional back, and if you want to get the actual value from the optional, you need to do a dot get. So that's the first method done. So now we would be able to get the data based on an ID from the database table. Now, how do I do a find all? The thing is, over here we would want to get all the to-dos for a specific username. So we would need to do a search on the to-do entity. So right now, if you look at the data, all the data is present for in 28 minutes, but typically this data would contain data for more number of people. In that case, I would want to search by the username and only get the to-dos for that username. The way I can create a search method is very simply by saying find by the column name. The column name we would want to search for is username. So find by username. Actually, you have to make the first letter caps. So find by username and the parameter which you would want to search for. Find by username. What would it return? List of to-dos which are associated with the user. Do a control space here, import java.util, and you would see that the repository now exposes a find by username method. If you go to the to-do JPA resource, now I can use return to-do JPA repository dot find by username and pass the username in, and I can comment this off. Now what we have done is we just implemented these two methods. There are still other stuff that we would want to do, but before we go any further with the rest of the stuff, I would recommend you to test the front end with these two methods. The population of the to-do should work, and also I should be able to click edit and see the details of the to-do. The save and the updates of the to-do will not really work for now. Let's start this again. I already have the front end running in the background. Cool. I'll clear the console out and look at the data which is present in here. Connect. Run. Okay, cool. I have 3 to-dos which are present in here. Let's go to the my to-dos application. It does not really pick the changes up because we have not really made a change to the front end. So Angular has no way to figure that you have changed the data in the backend. So let's refresh. Home, to-dos. And now you would see that there are to-dos populated in here. Learn to dance. Learn about microservices too. Angular. It's still picking up data from the original services. Why? Because we have not changed the URLs in the front end. What we'll do is we'll go to the app.constants and I'll create a new URL. I'll call this to do JPA API URL, and this would be /JPA. So we are creating a new constant to do JPA API URL, and what I'll do is now in the let's save the app.constants, and inside the to do data service, in the retrieve all to dos and the retrieve to do methods, let's save this out. I'll need to do a control space to import this in, and now let's see the magic unfold. Now you'd see the new to dos. The to dos are coming from where? The to dos are coming from the H2 in-memory database, and now if you do a update of this, I'll be able to see the details. Don't do a save yet. I have no idea what would happen, and I'm not really interested to find that out as well. But the interesting thing is now we are able to show the data from the database. You'd see that if you insert a new row in here, let's copy one of the things from here. Let's go to the data.sql, pick up a new row here, and learn microservices 15 times, let's say, and the to-do ID is 10,004. I'll do a run. Oops, it's giving me an error. Oh no, it's not giving me an error. It's actually went through successfully. So the data is inserted in, and we have auto commit on, so it's automatically committed. And now if I go to home and come back to to-dos, I have 4 to-dos which are present in here. One of the things that you need to remember is this data which we inserted would be lost as soon as we restart the application, because this is an in-memory database. In this quick step, we connected the list to-dos page to the backend. There are a few more things that we would need to connect to the backend. I'll see you in the next step. Until then, bye-bye.